It's reckless. It's dangerous. It's irresponsible for anyone to say this was rigged just because they don't like the verdict. The justice system should be respected, and we should never allow anyone to tear it down.
Wait, did that happen after Roe versus Wade was overturned? I seem to remember people taking on Kavanaugh and hanging out in his neighborhood. Was that a problem? Well, the message, look, is clear. If you question the legitimacy of a trial, then you're a threat to America. But I don't think the people are buying this. We see the so-called defenders of democracy have officially dropped their shields and picked up the weapons of lawfare. The conviction of President Trump might mark one of the darkest periods in American history, but the fight to preserve the country we love, that's ongoing. Joining me now, Missouri Senator Josh Hawley. Senator, your response, given what Biden said, it reminds me of what they said after the election, that anyone who questioned the outcome or had even concerns about some of the irregularities or the way voting was conducted, that they were threats and that they had to be followed or surveilled. It seems very reminiscent of that.
Yeah, now, Laura, we've entered the phase where Joe Biden says in order to save democracy, he has to cancel democracy. In order to preserve the right of the people to govern, he's got to throw his opponent in jail and make sure the people don't have a choice in November. I mean, this is something we've never seen before in American history. Our election process is supposed to end with an election, not with throwing your opponent in jail. No American president's ever done this before. I mean, Joe Biden has tried to make us a third world country. And I'll just say this, Laura, these same Democrats, I thought 24 hours ago, were mounting a full-on assault on Justice Samuel Alito in the Supreme Court, calling for recusal, calling into question the court's decisions. Why? Because they didn't like a flag that Justice Alito flew. But now, all of a sudden, this verdict is sacrosanct? I mean, give me a break. It's a total rig job, and they know it.
Well, remember, again, the Justice Department was dragging its feet when there was real intimidation campaign that was waged against Justice Kavanaugh. They never got over the fact that he actually was confirmed and that he has life tenure. Never got over the fact that Justice Thomas got life tenure. They're still trying to drag these guys through the mud at every turn. And yet suddenly we're the great defenders of institutions. They're the biggest norm busters out there, and they don't give a rip.
Listen, the only institutions that the Democrats are interested in are the ones that they can control and get to do their bidding, which is why they're attacking the Supreme Court. When an assassin showed up at Justice Kavanaugh's house, they could hardly shrug their shoulders. When Chuck Schumer went to the steps of the Supreme Court and named justices by name and threatened them, you're not going to know what's hit you, is what he said. And he called out Kavanaugh and Gorsuch. They just shrugged their shoulders. But now all this is sacrosanct. Laura, let's not have any confusion here. These people, the Biden people, the Democrats, are trying to tear down the rule of law. They're trying to bulldoze every norm in this country so they can remain in power. That's all they care about is power, and which is why the only answer to this is to win in November.
And meanwhile, Senator, as everybody was focused on this, understandably, we learned yesterday that the president had okayed U.S. arms being used inside Russia, which, of course, was stunning to all of us who are actually focusing on what's happening in this Ukraine war. Your thoughts on that tonight? These people seem to want war with Russia.
Oh, war, war, war. And the reason is that it just is more about control, Laura. I mean, this president is all about what will help him stay in power, what will give him more control. I have to think at this point, if he can provoke a wider war, it's almost to his political benefit, he may calculate. This is terrible. And by the way, they're not telling us the truth about Ukraine. They're not telling us the truth about where our weapons are going. They're not telling us the truth about where our soldiers are. I predict to you soon we're going to find out that U.S. soldiers are in Ukraine, that U.S. soldiers are advising, quote unquote, just like Vietnam, Ukrainian troops on the ground. It's constant escalation and constant lies. Exactly right. All about power.
Yeah, that was very disturbing news. We learned yesterday. People focus on the other issues as well. This is important, but they're going to try to sneak a lot else through. Senator, thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.